So how are we trying to become the Tony Robbins of the spiritual finance realm? Oh, stay till the end to find out. Welcome to the news. So we're gonna try to start things off a little bit smoother, I suppose, by trying to configure how to do a little bit of a giveaway of just some, free information, more or less. It's not exactly me giving it away, but I'm just trying to pass it along so that hopefully someone else can benefit. If you are in the United States, if you are in the U.S., the United States, or you happen to know anybody in the United States, such as myself at the current time, at least that's where I is, and you wanted to leverage something that's kind of a neat little tool, I guess you could say. There's something called SCORE. It's a mentorship program. If you can use the internet, just try to Google SCORE, the mentorship program in essence. And if you are in the United States, or if you need somebody to vouch for you in the United States, or if you wanted a little bit of a contribution, connectivity to this process, to this service, to this connective item that relates to a mentor. It's like a mentorship program. It's a mentorship program, and it's free in essence. So if you wanted to participate in that, then you can fundamentally do that by connecting with somebody in the United States and having them sign up with you, or just sending an email and a sign-up form through. And act like you are in the United States, for example, to get a free mentor, to get somewhat of a free mentor, and be able to live the life of somebody from the United States while talking to the mentor, and or fundamentally be able to just continue to speak in the language of English, at least, to fundamentally, or you can translate languages through the essence of artificial intelligence potentially as well, or anything of this nature, to be able to get a free mentor, It's a little bit of a gift. It's called SCORE. It's a mentorship. It's based out of Florida. Oh, the state of Florida. So, if that's cool to you, then let me know. Fundamentally, to transition and to pivot to a little bit something like I talked about in the beginning, we're trying to be like Tony Robbins of the spiritual finance realm, then in essence, let me know if this chimes with you. Okay, so what I was talking about is the essence, that in essence spiritual finance is a little bit different than what Tony Robbins continues to talk about and speak about for many years by now. So if we have the ability to align, that's where we're going after all. If we can be the spiritual finance sort of personnel, sort of representation of Tony Robbins, that is sort of one of the goals. So stay with me as we try to move in that sort of direction, if you will. Because as I mentioned, Tony Robbins has helped a handful of people over time, and one of the things at the same time, which is in parallel to what I have been hoping to try to do, is like a side hustle to be able to try to get a different visa in a different country, to be able to try to fundamentally station and focus around being in that different country a little bit longer of a time in the future, to be able to try to set up a little bit of a shop in that region, in that space, in that area, in that way of setting things up, to be able to try to fundamentally have a different approach on the culture aspect that's sort of influencing and intervening and inspiring the new future episodes of different future content that corresponds to Dink Tech Change for Games, Dink Tech Change for Games Studios. So, fundamentally, what I'm referring to is that, in essence, I heard a story today specifically because I was talking about Accent Elimination. Accent Elimination, again, is one of the things that Dink Tech Change for Games Studios is trying to do to get a visa in another country, to be able to stay a little bit longer, to be able to fundamentally help different folks from different strokes around the globe, to be adding a little bit of a service as a little bit of a business, to be able to make a foundational business, to be able to grow that business in a short and long-term sense into pivoting other directions, to be able to add on and tack on different elements of service, of relevant affiliate, in essence, revenue commission streams that connect to the business, the core business of Dink Tech Change for Games Studios. Yeah, and that's why it's actually a little bit peculiar, and that's why this podcast exists, is to be able to try to suss out some of the linear processes to get to that eventual focus of ramping up some revenue sources, if you will. So nonetheless, to get back to what I was saying, Accent Elimination is one of the services that we want to try to fundamentally flow with. And one of the stories that I heard today regarding Tony Robbins is how he helped change a janitor's life, a janitor who first came to the United States many years ago. And in essence, he started as a janitor, and somebody told him he needed to brush up on his accent. Fundamentally, to be able to transition into getting a little bit more aligned with a business mindset, a business mentality for connecting with people in the United States in a little bit more of a business mindset by brushing up on his accent, by losing his accent. And once that's one of the primary purposes and goals and incentives of being able to try to help people lose or brush up on their accent to be able to sound more like clean in terms of the format for speaking English, speaking American English, if you will, or just speaking English that's just fluid so it sort of blends in for the business world, the business realm in essence. That's sort of the mindset of being like a business service for helping folks, if possible, if of interest, with accent elimination, speaking, if you will. So nonetheless, Tony Robbins apparently helped this guy by somebody telling him from the business realm as he was cleaning as a janitor to brush up on his accent, and it'll help his business realm and game by doing that. And it helped him to listen to the Tony Robbins audio tapes. Listening to the Tony Robbins audio tapes helped him to residually eventually build and sell a $3.4 billion company, to build and sell and exit a $3.4 billion company. And I heard this peripherally through Alex Hormozy, who is an influencer figure who is very well known on the internet, and that became one of his financial officers in his company, acquisition.com. For example, and this was Alex actually doing an interview with Tony Robbins himself and thanking him for being able to connect those dots for him to be able to eventually find a way to connect with that person who eventually moved in and alongside him in his company. Oh. So that's how fundamentally we're trying to transition into the Tony Robbins style of mindset of peripheral giving. That, in essence, is what this podcast is sort of a symbol for, if you will, is to be able to be peripherally trying to develop spiritual finance energy, just like that $3.4 billion of value that he sort of peripherally helped that one person, that one man, that one fellow from audio tapes to be able to develop and generate that value of $3.4 billion and an exit after selling his company and growing a technology company over time. And so this is why Accent Elimination is a little bit of a business service, if you will. And fundamentally, that if we, just as well, like through this podcast, are trying to transition all these dollars for philanthropy energy, so some of this peripheral energy through Dink Tech Change for Games Studios, developing in this podcast is sort of the foundational element, which is hoping to align with Tony Robbins and the Tony Robbins energy, if you will, to just try to fundamentally grow peripheral, residual philanthropy energy, good global deeds economy energy growth in the whole global good deeds economy in of itself, to grow itself in of itself, and then therefore grow more philanthropy energy into the global philanthropy energy grid. And this is philanthropy energy, residual energy, that is corresponding to the fundamental focus that corresponds to the center that relates to and revolves around this podcast to begin with, to be able to residually develop residual energy in the form of philanthropy energy, and not dollars and cents, and not directly focusing on dollars and cents by directly surreptitiously focusing on philanthropy energy and then backtracking back to dollars and cents to be able to earn more money, earn more dollars and cents. After all, it's really about focusing on the actual game of generating philanthropy energy by developing the global good deeds economy, and therefore thereby developing the global philanthropy energy grid. Because in essence, money is a secondary byproduct to actually living, actually staying alive, and actually facilitating life. It is an actual secondary byproduct, which is in essence an unnecessary byproduct for life to occur, for living an efficient, effective human life, if you will, on this planet. Fundamentally, we're focusing as a company, as Dink Tech Change for Games as a company, on synthesizing the essence and the energies of life to focus on what specifically we need to get by in terms of being happy, getting by as well, and completely sidelining the essence and the focus and the interest of the distraction of money, which is a global game that is a fundamental, consistent distraction from the element related to the essence of being an asset human being, an actual, like an asset human being, as opposed to being an asset that connects other assets to other assets regarding money and money growth and monetary energy growth, from connecting money growth and monetary energy with other monetary energy for more healthy monetary energy after all. But we're trying to transition and translate human energy into asset energy in of itself. And in essence, the fundamental relationship between humanity and money energy is that money's distraction powers are significant, and they actually distract and detract from the asset human energy within a human by focusing on asset money monetary energy outside of a human energy's human energy focus, if you will. And fundamentally, being able to align with this mindset is one of the more healthy focuses for how we're trying to transition the essence of staying in an asset energy. Staying in an asset energy as a human by basically always staying in the form of an asset. What that fundamentally also means is by cutting down and also trying to lose and sidetrack and completely side curb entirely the essence of money and the need for money entirely getting everybody away from money and going off from money and leaning into and fundamentally getting the most core results of what humanity can be by acknowledging the least expenses possible that are necessary and not spending money, never spending money, trying to make money. Sure, yes, make money, go make money, but this is where the twist, I guess, comes into this episode, if you will, whereas we're trying to focus on the essence of living expenses and transitioning into a new, healthier mindset for every single human in the world. So that in essence, we're trying to develop, in this weird episode, an interesting connection, if you will, between, Kimball Musk, which is his company, is regarding shipping containers and developing greenhouses inside of shipping containers, who's Elon Musk's brother, if you will, and then basically combining that with the essence of Elon Musk, who at one time tried to connect with a company called Boxables, which in essence is basically small houses and small pop-up houses, unfoldable houses, houses that fold out of each other, pop-up camper type houses in essence, and then combining all three of those things with the travel industry in essence, so that after all, as opposed to people feeling like they need to be centered and focused around one single center space and place in life, which causes, unfortunately, an anchor to occur, an anchor mindset, an anchor mentality, an anchor existence, which then therefore detracts from the essence of living life, and it focuses all the focus on buying things and materialism, and the essence and the focus and the obsession on materialism, if you will, so that after all, people get distracted that they have the ability to leave their anchor of a home. A home tends to be an anchor. A home tends to be a storage locker, more or less. So the less you have, the lighter you are, the better you can travel. The lighter that you can travel, the further you can travel, the farther and better and more optimized that you can travel in this life, in a figurative and literal sense, in a figurative and a physical sense. In a physical sense, meaning you can walk farther, you can go farther, you can be further away from home because you're anchored down by less. You have less things in your storage locker in a house, in essence. So that, therefore, is more of less that is necessary to carry around and return to, and it's not necessary to return to the same location on an every single day basis, and that therefore frees you up to do more philanthropy energy. That therefore makes you freed up to do more good deeds in the world, do more volunteering in the world. And then when we combine all the things that I just mentioned, Elon Musk, Kimball Musk, and the essence of the travel industry, which can be the travel industry of the future, is that we start to fundamentally convert all the shipping containers in the world into houses. Yes, that's right, big 40-foot shipping containers in the world, all converted into houses of the future, so that everybody in the world doesn't feel the need and doesn't necessarily need to operate within a country and within a country ecosystem, but in essence, fundamentally, everybody in the world can have 40-foot shipping container houses in essence, because they're easy enough to come by. I hope to say, I hope to think, I hope to believe it's possible. After all, and at the same time, half of these shipping containers could be lived up by the Kimball Musk shipping containers that are also vertical farms inside of the shipping container. So half of it is livable, and there's, it's structural enough to be able to travel on cargo ships. So all of these homes can readily be possibly passable around to different countries, different places, and you can move your whole house by shipping the shipping container to other places in the world. And there's a whole ecosystem, a whole economy of being able to ship these shipping containers from one side of the world to another, so that fundamentally they can all stack and connect and slide and jive and coincide into other interesting places in the world, and we can all collaborate on the world ecosystem, the world effectiveness of the world ecosystem, and the world outcome of the world potential of collaborating and combining and coinciding the world global frequency among each other through one global collaboration and one global house at the same time, one global fundamental camp yard where we all get to camp at the same time, fundamentally by having our resources focused on not wasting them, because we're all able to grow our own food in this instance, in essence, and we all can own our own houses in essence in this instance as well, at the cheapest rate, at the most easy to come by rate, and then we can all fundamentally function from the sun's energy, which more or less was reported by Elon Musk not that long ago to be able to power the world's energy, and just the United States alone by 100 miles of solar panels is enough energy to power all of the United States in terms of power that is necessary to power the whole country. I believe I heard that correct, and just to validate, maybe someone else should Google it, and then get back to us in some form of comments on this podcast, if you will, sometime down the line, but I'm just saying, that can power the world in terms of power, because the sun's power is significantly, indefinitely definite that it's the most powerful resource for power that we have available to us, regardless, and it can help power our little storage container houses that are half vertical farms and half houses, if you will, because you just need minimalism nonetheless, because the essence of having the outdoors as your actual house is the most rewarding gift after all anyhow, nonetheless, because it causes more exercise, it causes more rejuvenating energy to grace your skin, to have vitamin E from the sun connect with the skin and the harmony of human fundamental energy, and then therefore causes more comfortable, uncomfortable situations where you more comfortably are more often, more consistently outside, as opposed to anything that's opposed to that. And that causes just a more fundamental essence and sense of vitality to the human life, human beings, and then at the same time, a voluntourism industry. A voluntourism industry that can connect with the mindset and the concept that, in essence, these shipping container units, these shipping container voluntourism ecosystems can continue to flow and coincide with the global good deeds economy. The global good deeds economy can flow, just like the Peace Corps, to essences and places and spaces in the world where the best of our resources as a globe, as a world family, can connect with each other as one unified real estate connective tourism travel industry connectivity with the Peace Corps and the voluntourism industry at the same time, which makes the whole world into one campsite, more or less the whole world into one fun campsite where all of the best of our vibes can be connected with each other, because we can concentrate on focusing upon giving each other as humans in the whole entire planet the best of our energies, focus on connecting with and conceptualizing to put the best foot forward in the form of empathy. Empathy as the best foot forward for all other human beings, all other walks of life, all other animals in the world, taking care of all the other animals in the world, and fundamentally having empathy as the first front foot forward in how to take care of our global campsite, which connects the ability for everybody to be able to share in our global planet of planet Earth and get the best of the best environments, the best cultures, and the best scenarios that they want to draw out for themselves, because the world then therefore becomes like one giant amusement park. It becomes like one giant, in essence, campsite where it's like a music festival where every day we get to camp everywhere we want and listen to the business music that we want to buy into and care about and feed into. Just like at a music festival, you can go to different talks, different ceremonies, different essences, different corners of the festival grounds to be able to get the focuses that you want to focus on that are generating and generative to the essence and the core of who you are as a being, as a human being, fundamentally most core, most first and foremost after all, and if you will. And to end this with spiritual finance and actual finance, to fundamentally also move away from the essence of traditional like lifestyles in terms of this like voluntourism mindset around the whole world, also fundamentally having an investment mindset to be able to stay in an asset energy, an investment mindset, asset energy in mind, also to be able to spend no money, not just less money, spend no money, and invest it all. You can focus on the S&P 500, for example. You can focus on the S&P 500. For the last 20 years, look at the performance of the S&P 500 every single year. And for that reason, focus on the S&P 500 and just focus on investing in the S&P 500. Yes, watch it every single day, 365 days of the year. So something like COVID in 2022 or something like the housing crisis occurs in 2008, then you're just watching every single day just to make sure that things are still okay. Just like if you had a kid, you don't not watch the kid for one whole day. You just don't, basically. So it's the same regard in this sense. So if any emergency occurs, you know to get out. Basically, you can sell out and you can get out, and that therefore gives you an asset mindset It gives you a fundamental collateral vault type of mindset where you structurally are trying to keep in place the essence of the asset value mindset, the essence of the structural mindset of continuous growth and trying to hedge against downside growth. Lack of growth, decline, if you will. And at the same time, it's like trying to focus on an asymmetric risk life. An asymmetric risk life where you're trying to stay in an asset energy. Anytime you go out and you spend money, you become a liability energy. You can stop that energy as a whole, just like the Elon Musk and Kimball Musk concept of living in a shipping container where half of it is a vertical farm because you are then therefore growing your own food. You're contributing to a more global, connective, more clean energy society, if you will, and you're helping Elon Musk and Kimball Musk, I guess, conceptualize how to combine growing vertical farm food development and such, and then the boxable houses, which I don't know where Elon is at with that business necessarily, but he was part of it at one time, and the connectivity of the whole global good deeds economy as one earth, and then therefore you're also still an investor and you're leveraging a collateral vault mindset where you have just growth. Your asset mindset stays in the essence of a growth mindset, and you're monitoring that S&P 500 portfolio as a basis, and then you can grow and take more risk off the back end of having the S&P 500 as the base, because those are the best companies at the top at all given times, and that's one of the best structures in terms of focus, in terms of flow, in terms of consistency, where you're trying to leverage the best companies in the world at all given times as your partners to grow your money. If nothing else, if you don't trust anyone else, then you can just leverage ideally those best companies in the form of the S&P 500 at the least, but then still watch for any problems so you can pull out if there are any problems, if you will, in the sort of top headlines, if you will, in the news. And that's all for now for the news for today. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dink Tech change for games. Dink Tech change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye. Oh yeah, also keep clearing the animal shelters. Clear the animal shelters and foster all shelter animals. Foster all shelter animals so that we can clear the animal shelters in the future in the short and long-term sense. Yeah, and look out for all shelter animals in the world and all animals in the world so we can hire all the animal shelter animals, and all the animals in the world, hire them as healers so we can hire all the animals in the world as healers throughout communities. Hire all the animals in the world as healers throughout communities. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dink Tech. Bye. Peace. Bye. Thanks again. Dink Tech, bye. Change for Dink Tech and change for Game Studios, bye. Thanks again, bye. Peace, bye.